Hey guys, welcome back. It's been so long since I came back with a tutorial episode. But then there was something cooking behind the scenes where I was building this login flow for the groceries app, which is complete now to an extent, and the source code is already available in my Patreon site. So if you want to skip this series and grab that code base directly, then check out this link. Otherwise, stay back and enjoy this new series, which is building that login workflow for the Viper iOS Swift app. So let's get started. So this is whatever I'm going to do is I already have the complete source code. So it's easier that I can grab whatever is needed to build this whole thing. But currently, whatever you see right now is just having that view controllers, which is required to start off. Let's say like a login screen and the sign up screen. These two elements are what we'll be building at the beginning. And I also have something called as an account view controller, which is actually will be used as the a screen where this login and the sign up screen will transition. It's more like a swap. When you click on this sign up button, it'll go to the sign up screen, and when you click on the login button, it'll swap to the login screen, which is this one. Also, there are a couple of controls, mainly one control which I have added called the account text control. This is more like a custom control which will actually have a title, a validation error field, and the text box. More like something where if you want to actually have the username and password, and let's say you and email field for your sign up screen or a login screen, I'll be using these. So I have already included control this control into the project, so that I don't spend much time creating this control. So if you are interested in knowing how to create this control, then please let me know in the comment section so that I can take it up as a separate tutorial. So one of the interesting things about this control is that there is something called as different rules which I can inject into this one. Let's say a password field validation, or a required field validation, or a length validation. All of these can be injected to this control based on the instance where you want to use it. Let's say if it is something like a password, it requires a required validation as well as some kind of a password validation where it has to be between 6 to 12 characters or something, or even something like a complex validation based on some regular expression. So these are things which is being done using this rules validation. I have included it within the utility section. So this is something if you are really interested, let me know. I'll create a separate tutorial on how to create this control and then inject these rules. Otherwise, if you are interested in knowing the code, then directly grab it from Patreon site, which is there you will be required to go for a monthly subscription. So that's what it is right now. I have a required validator, password validator, where I have kept it between 6 to 12 characters. Must be between 6 and 12 characters. So whenever these rules are injected, then each of these controls will ask for conforming to these rules. That is the intention of having this. Plus I have something called as a field validatable. So this is something which that control has already uh, conform to, like using a protocol. It is a protocol, so this control is already conforming to it. So idea is that I am not completely passing this control to the presenter for validation. Instead, I'll just use this protocol for validation. So it keeps it simple as that. So that's what the idea of this control is. So that's the background of this login, at least whatever screens which is already created. So you can see that's a login screen which is actually using this account text control which I have created. So it's just a view I have added and then made that class type as account text control. It's all of these fields are account text controls, even the sign up views account text controls. So it is already ready to be used and for validation. So however I have added is something like let me just go to the login view controller. So it's not yet added because this is a fresh project. I'm just grabbing things here, just that I've just included it in the view controllers, but not having those references here. So let me do that, starting with that right now. So let me just grab those view controller outlets here. So I'm having these outlets. Sign up view controller, starting with login view controller. Let's go there. Maybe I'll just do something. Okay, let me do that. That's a login view controller. So I already have a couple of outlets here where on login what should happen and on sign up what should happen. So these two actions are already included. Let me just grab the other names which I have already defined in my completed project so that I'm consistent with the naming conventions which is already used. So I have these 4 things in the login view. So it's more like I have an account email account control, so that is the first field. Let me just include that. Then next is a password, that's also included. Then the login button, and there is something called as a status label which I have added. Let me just see where it is. That is here, not this one, it's this one. Okay, even that, hope I've not added a couple of, okay, it's fine. So I have these outlets now available. Also let's do it for the sign up view controller. Similarly, let me grab those outlets which I have used in the completed project. Those are the ones. First being the name control. Yeah. Next is the email control, password control, login sign up button, and then finally the status. Where do I see? That's a status label. That's also included now. So just keeping it consistent with whatever I have already built. So these are the controls and their outlets being added now. And let me just see whether something is missed. Looks pretty much okay. So still in the app delegate, if you see, we are launching the tab bar module. So one of the ideas right now is to load the login or the account view instead of this. So that let's start working on that right now, because otherwise we will not be able to see this. So as a first step, let me just include something called as a window which will represent let's go to the app delegate. Okay, that's my app delegate. And here if you see I'm directly using the UI window to launch this. So instead of this, let's create a builder for this window, so that it becomes easier for me to transition between, let's say, a login module. After logged in state, I go to the tab bar. where I have the groceries listing happening. So without the login, we are not allowing the user to actually navigate to the this tab bar module. So that's the idea with that window which I'm going to create. So let's begin that. Let's create a new group called window. Let me just refer whatever I have already have. So create something called as a window class. So this window will be inheriting UI window, and so for that we need to override some of the inits. Ask for the coder part as well. So let's do a super.init with the frame which we are passing, as well as one for the coder side. A decoder. So this is my window. So this being a VIPER architecture, let's keep the VIPER structure similar. So let's create the presenter and the router and the builder for this. So let me call that as window presenter. Again, it will also have a presentation created protocol. Let's create that window presentation, which is the representation of your presenter as a protocol. So that's my window presenter. Also create window router. So this is what will actually let you transition between different view controllers. This is the router which will let you do that. Also create the protocol window routing. Check my code. Yeah. So that's my window routing. Let's keep it that basic stuff, and also let's create that init for this, because this will require an instance of the window which we already created. So let's pass that, and also have the window private. Keeping a weak reference or an unknown reference of the window here. So things are compiling fine. Okay, now that's taken care. That is my router, and basically what's going to happen is this router is going to define a function which will, let's say, route to either the tab bar, or where do you want it, the tab bar in the sense of groceries listing section, or to the login section. These are the two things which is going to happen using this router. So let's define that. Let me just call it route to something. So for that, so it will ask you to implement this extension window routing, window router, implements window routing. So implementation, before that, let's implement and see. It's okay. So let's define an enum. I'll just call it as kind, because it can, what is the kind of routing that you need? Do you need to route to login, or do you need to route to the home page? Let's call that a home page of groceries. So these are the two options which we are giving for routing. So let me just pass that as window router dot kind. So based on this kind, we decide where to navigate. So that implementation will happen once we define the view controllers and build those modules. So that's what initial thing that we did, is that we have this window router right now, which will use a routing, and it will decide whether to route to login, or if the user is validated, he will get routed to the groceries home section. Those are the two ideas right now we have. So let's also create the builder for this, because without the builder we can't build the module. You can build it, but then it will not have that organized way of doing, where you can associate all the dependencies between different let's say view controller and the presenter, or in this case this is view presenter router needs to have this association. So let's create that builder. Build window builder. We'll have a function called build, and it's going to return a type of UI window. Import your UI kit. Let's be a static function. It's returning a UI window. Let's go back. Check my window. So all that it does is, we've just passed the frame from we already have in the app delegate. Whatever we do is we build this window using this frame. So this is what we'll be passing to the builder. So let's build that frame here, bring that frame here, which is a cgrect type. And using that, let's do the same building of the window here. Okay, let's just we'll use this window which we already defined. It'll ask for what's in it. We have defined this frame. And return that window. So builder as such is created for this window builder. Now whatever we need to do is to pass the dependencies, like presenter, it needs to have its presenter association as well as a router. So let's bring that again. So first thing is create the router of the window, which is we called as window routing, window router, just asking for a window object. So that's what we already have created. We're passing that. And that's not the only thing which we require. We need some more things. And before that, let's just keep all the things ready here. And we also have created the presenter. So presenter needs now an instance of router so that it can do those routing actions. So within the presenter, let's pass the window routing. So this, we create a reference in the presenter. That's pretty good. Keep adding other dependencies. We have not yet added those two modules, like the sign up view as well as the tab bar view. we are not brought those modules here which are required for deciding where to navigate. So that's not yet there. Also we need things like validators which need to be added, but at least we can at least begin with showing the login screen before doing all that. So that will be the basic step we will start with right now. So that's my router. So that's my builder router. Then let's build a presenter for this window presenter, asking for a router which we already defined. That's done. So but still window needs a reference of the presenter. So for that, let's bring within the window, let's create presenter window presentation as the reference. That done. Let's go back, set that here. Window dot presenter is equal to presenter. Is that how I have defined in my tutorial? Let me just have a look. Builder, yeah, that's it. It's a presenter reference. So that's what it is, window presenter. So now if we have to show, this will not bring you anything, like just that we have the builder now. And let's say if we try replacing whatever we already have here, let's say this is I'm setting the root view controller as something here. Those things will move somewhere else. So right now I don't have any of this, and I'm going to set this window as my window which I have created now using the window builder build. Okay, I just removed window is equal to window builder dot build, pass this frame. So this is what I have right now. It is returning a builder which is of type window, but we are not setting anything as root view controller yet. So nothing is going to happen as yet. We need to set the account view builder. We already don't have it. We are going to create that. We need to create the account view builder, and then build that and set that as a root view controller. So that will make it something like you are showing the account view when app is launching. Let's do that now. So let's go to account view controller. It has nothing as yet because I have not created other things required like the presenter builder, router, and everything for this. And this account builder is part of the whole sign up and login. So sign up and login will be launched from the account view controller. I'll show you how to do that right now. Let's go do that. Let me just go to my reference. Start with, let's say, a presenter for the account. So that's my account. Account presenter. Account router. And then the main thing, which is account builder. Okay, so let's start with the presenter, account presenter, protocol, account presentation. Create that extension required for implementing the protocol. That's it. So I just have the basic structure right now. Whatever is needed is presenter needs a weak reference of the view. So let's create that weak. So before that, we refer the view using a protocol. Create that as well. Account view. Extension account view controller. So that's done. Now let's use this protocol as a reference to the view of the view in the presenter. That's the idea. VIPER presenter, VIPER, let's call it as view. VIPER view, that will set the view. So it'll ask you to make it should be of, it says weak must be of not be applied on a non-class bound. So let's go here, make it as class type so that you don't get that compilation error. Where did I go change? Okay, that's done. So that's done. So let's go to creation of the router. Router needs URKit because it needs to refer to your controllers. So account router, let's create that protocol. Account routing, that's done. So my router is almost like there, just that I need to init it. What do I need for my router? Mostly the view controller, which has created this router. So let's pass that view controller, private let view controller, UI view controller, and then just instantiate that. That's it at basic level. This is what I need, but still we are not completed with whatever the routing has to do. Like in this case, account router mostly does the swapping. I guess it needs to do, let me just validate it once. Yeah, it just needs to swap between, let's say in my case it's like I have this button for show login or show sign up based on if the if the account is existing, and if I'm let's say in the sign up view, then I guess can just swap to the login screen. So that's a kind of routing is what this router does, like from swap between login view and the sign up view. It does not take care of, let's say, moving back to another screen from moving back from once you are logged in. This router does not take care of navigating to the dashboard. That we will take care using something else. Let's visit that when we reach there, but then until then this is what we are doing. So account router is ready, and maybe I can define those functions which I needed: show login and show sign up. Basic stuff. I don't think account routing, yeah, just shows login and show sign up. Mostly I guess I'm just so used to keeping these return types even if there is nothing. So it's up to different practices. If you're fine with it, you can use that way, or else if your Swiftlin does something else or it gives you a warning, you can get rid of that. So show login, show sign up, those two things I'm just keeping as is. I don't have these two views yet. I need the builder, which we will create in a moment, but then before that, this is what I have, these two functions here, and the swapping logic will happen when we have those two modules ready, because those two modules needs to give a callback to my account routing or to the account router to actually do the transition. So those implementations will take care of that. So before that, we are almost closer to building this, so I also need a builder, account builder. Account builder function build, same stuff. It returns a UI view controller. Let's import UI kit. So it has to instantiate the view controller. So that's the error that you will get here. It needs to return. Okay, it's something else. Before it compiles, let me just go and refer whatever I have implemented. So I have defined a grocery storyboard somewhere. Yeah, I already have the login here, so that will actually fetch me the login instance. So in the builder, if I have to go back to the builder, account builder, I can grab the storyboard, grocery storyboard.login.instance will fetch me the grocery storyboard. This is nothing but grocery I guess that's okay. Yeah, it is nothing but an enum where I have defined each of the cases where whatever number of view control the storyboards which I have created is here, and then I'm just using that to create the individual storyboards using this. So that's the simple thing which I'm doing here. And once I have the storyboard, I can create the view controller using storyboard.instantiate. Still compiling. Oh, I already have a builder created. Let me just try getting rid of the other one. I guess I created outside to trash. That should solve it. Yeah, so instantiate view controller using identifier. So I already have an identifier called account view controller defined here. Go there and log in. This is my account view controller, and it already has a storyboard identifier, so just using that here. Builder account view controller, that will instantiate my account view. So now as soon as I return this, my compilation error should go off, but I'm not done with the dependency associations yet because I already created the presenter, router and everything. So I need to associate that now. Let me start with the router for this, which is account router, asking for the view controller, account view controller, passing that. So that's pretty much what my router is, but still there are things which it needs, like a submodule for swapping, let's say from login to sign up. Those things I need to pass still, but I have not done the creation part of the builders yet, so let's wait for that. Let's just bring in these elements right now. So let me also create the presenter. It's not asking for anything as yet. It needs the router instance, so let's pass that. account routing, private let router, account routing. Now it will ask for the router. Pass that router. So that's my router. Now let's pass the account view.presenter instance. I don't have it yet. Let's create that. So it needs account view needs to have a presenter instance where presenter account presentation. Now go back to the builder, account view dot presenter. Where'd that go? Did I create it in login? Where did I create it? Okay, go back. Okay, it's account. Presenter. Okay, I forgot. That's done. And then presenter.view is equal to account view. The whole association of this module is completed, just that we now need to pass two submodules, the login and sign up. Those two modules we need to create and pass it right here. So that's something we'll do. Before that, what else do we need to do? So account builder is ready. So this can be now passed as a module to my builder, the window builder, because this is what will show me the initial launching screen, whether it is login. In this case, we'll start with login, and login is part of the account builder which we created. So let's do that. Let me go refer whatever I have done. So my window needs to have a submodule section. So go to the router, create those submodules, and two things I would need. At least one thing I'll right now include is account module, because okay, even we have the tab bar module, so we can even include that. So this is my UI view controller, and also I can include the tab bar module. So these are the two modules which this router will consume. So let's pass this as a parameter. Some modules, inject them here. And let's create two parameters, variables for account module and the tab bar module. Tab bar view, let me call that as tab bar view, and account view. And all I need to do then is, once I receive the account view submodules dot account view module, and self dot taba view will be some modules dot taba module. So two things. So these are two closures which I'm passing, and those views can be received here. So let me do that same thing here. Or maybe window builder should accept it as submodules. Okay, let me just use the submodules directly here. Window. Let me call them account module. So we already have the account builder dot build function. So again, this is a closure which we are passing. So that's the reason I'm just passing. Let me make it static. Passing just the build function. The rest of the things is a closure then. So I can instantiate that module using just this instance creation. So that's the reason I'm just passing this. Similarly, I need to pass tab bar module. Tab bar builder module dot build. Again, this closure, not the complete function. Not this. If this will actually create that view model, but we don't view controller. Instead, we just need the closure to that. Okay, that is accepting some other type. Let's see what is a tab bar module. Okay, it's asking for the submodules. Something we can do right now is move these submodules within this builder, because we know that the builder is responsible for creating the different tab items as well. So maybe it's a good idea that we move it inside this. Let's do that. Let's go to the app delegate. I already have this here, like submodules, and going to the tab bar module. That's it. And then pass this as a module and get rid of this. So now it's just a build function which will actually create you the whole module required. So that's pretty much what my tab bar module is. So right now whatever we did is to explain a bit once more. We have the window router which is responsible to transition between, let's say, a login screen and the tab bar module. In something like if the user is not validated, has not logged in, he will land in the login screen through the account builder. So that's something that we are going to create now. If the other case where if the user login has already happened and the next time when the app is launching, let's say, and the user is validated, then he needs to land in the grocery section or the home page of the application. That is after validation. Something that we will implement once we are done with the login and sign up, all that flow. So that's something which we will do. But for the time being, let's understand that this builder requires these two modules, and which we have passed right now. So the router is already having this. So based on the kind, let's say switch case, let's say kind, based on the kind, we can define where it needs to go. Whether to login or to home screen. That's the implementation which we will do. We already have the submodules. It's a simple thing like whatever we need to do here. Let's go there. Let me just validate. So simple thing like we can even test this window the window which we have created right now. Let's say to launch uh, at least the tab bar view which is working right now. So if it is login, and through the account view, we need to we need to set the view controller. One sec, what is the view controller? Okay, so let's get that view controller part. So we are instantiating a view controller using these modules. That's what you are doing, view controller. So we'll instantiate the account view controller, which does not accept anything. Self.account view. Okay, it is already we have already instantiated whatever account module. We have already instantiated that view here. So we just need to set the account view here. The next thing is if the type is home, then all that we need to do is to set the tab bar as the view controller. So some of the things which we were doing in the app delegate will come down here. Then let's say something like these two things. So we set the Windows root view controller as this view controller, whichever is let's say if the kind is login, then the view controller set will be this. This if the kind is login, then account is what we will set as a root view controller. If the kind is home, let's say if the user is already validated, then tab bar is what we will set as a view controller. So this is what we do. Let's try out that here. So on init, right now we have the window which is instantiating the presenter. So presenter needs to have something called let's create a function called initialize or something. What did I define? Let me just check. Presentation. Okay, there is I have created something called as initialize. As a function extension, maybe good idea to have an extension. Window presentation. Initialize. So mostly in this initialize, if I had the login flow available where I could validate the user, I could have used a use case here through the interactor to verify whether the user is already logged in or not. But at this point, I don't have that luxury. So I'm just going to directly call the home router. All that I'll do is self.route to the kind, which is home, which I have already defined. So this is going to launch my tab bar view controller. So let's do that. So let me just call that initialize here. So the first step, when this is happening, let's say when the window is being built, I am also building the presenter. So the presenter in turn will be initialized, which will call the initialize function, and it will try to route to the home screen now. So this basic stuff is ready now. Let's get that tested. At least this should work right now. We don't need any of this code anymore because all of that is happening within the window builder which we created now. So let's try running. It should launch the basic screen right now, which is the home screen. See, it's working. So that's what, if you want to verify it, let's keep a breakpoint and see in the routing. It should come here. So it's coming there and launching. That's it. So that's the first step which I wanted to create in this tutorial, where I wanted to try out something called as a window which has routing. This is something which will take care of your routing between the login and the home screen. So I think I'll take a break right now. This is my first episode of this tutorial, and it's going to be a long one, but so I'll make it short, explain it well, and try to make it as thorough as possible. This whole thing. Also, I have this whole APIs ready for login, sign up, validate, refresh token, and everything is ready. And as I said, if you want to have an early access to this whole code base, go to my Patreon site, have that checked from there, and then let me know how you feel about it. Otherwise, continue watching these episodes. It's going to be very interesting, and I'm coming back soon with my next episode after this break. Bye for now.